Before we begin, we want to acknowledge that some stories and discussions in this episode of Radiant Resilience may touch on sensitive and potentially triggering topics. These may include themes of suicide, alcoholism, bullying, childhood trauma, breast cancer, rape, infertility and childlessness, toxic family relationships, emotional abuse, forgiveness of traumatic events. Our goal is to share real life experiences in a respectful and empathetic manner, offering insights into the complexities of the human spirit and the journey towards resilience. However, we understand that some content might be difficult for listeners. We encourage you to prioritize your well being and discretion when deciding to listen. Please remember this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice or support. If you find yourself needing assistance, we urge you to seek help from qualified professionals or trusted support systems. Your mental and emotional health is important to us. Thank you for your courage and for joining us in a space of understanding and compassion. Welcome back, everyone, to Radiant Resilience. I have a very special guest with me today. I have Catherine Giovani. She is a three-time award-winning best-selling author, speaker, and forgiveness and transformation coach. She's authored 12 transformative books, including her latest, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. Catherine brings humor and heart to her work, offering profound insights into the art of forgiveness and personal empowerment. As a dynamic speaker, trainer, and intuitive advisor, she's known for helping others navigate life's challenges with wisdom, compassion, and a healthy dose of laughter. Recognized as one of the original founders of the independent concierge industry, she masterfully combines her extensive professional experience with a passion for unlocking true potential. Catherine, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thanks so much for coming on. I'm gonna let you start wherever you want to start. If you want to share a little bit of your journey to what brought you to some of this work, and then we are going to talk about forgiveness. So you go right ahead.
The fact that I call myself a forgiveness coach probably implies that the universe has provided me with more than enough, thank you very much, opportunities to forgive. I have a plethora amount. Would love
Yeah.
it to dial it back a little bit. Now, it probably started when I was a kid. I was in the eighth grade. My parents were very pickled, being they were alcoholics. I was terribly bullied in school because I was different. So I tried to commit suicide in the eighth grade and I turned into one of those kids. The kids, they just float through life and draped in black, one friend. But I grew up in New York and we were all draped in black. So I don't even know if I should say that anymore. In fact, they're
Mm.
still draped in black up there. But I floated through life until my mother fell down a flight of stairs, broke her hip, and ended up in the hospital. And even my mother couldn't get a gin and tonic in the hospital. So she dried out. We sent her to rehab. And I spent the next few years closer than sisters. We almost finished each other's sentences. We were so tight. We forgave, we got to know each other. And 3 years later, she died of breast cancer, which I
Oh.
later got in 2012. And everybody, Tawny, everybody has flashpoints in their life. At least that's what I call them. And you may not know you're going through a flashpoint at the time, but when you look back at it, you could say that's the day that changed my life, or that's the teacher that changed my life, or this experience changed my life. That was mine because I knew that if I didn't change my life, I was going to die. So I quit drinking. It was the only New Year's resolution I actually ever kept to this day. And I've now been sober for about 35 years.
Amazing.
When you go through what they call the rooms and you get sober, you have to do what they call a fourth step, which means they want you to make amends with people. I have a problem.
Mm.
I was really shy. Now I'm an extroverted introvert now because I've taught myself how to do it over the last 30 years. But back then, no. I had no desire to reach out to people who were going to probably yell at me. And if I'd had texting back then, because I'm as old as dirt, if I had texting back then, I would have been all over it. I would have been
Mm.
tech. Absolutely, I would have done that. There's no emotion in a text. But
Yeah.
back then, we didn't even have computers. You
Mm.
had to choose phone or in person. Your girl
That's
didn't want to do either
hard.
one. So I said I did forgiveness quietly in my apartment all by myself.
Okay.
And I accidentally stepped into the first part of my forgiveness system. Didn't know it at the time. I stumbled into it by accident. And as I forgave people, I started to feel better. A year later, I met my husband of 33 years. So it started to gain steam. But the thing about forgiveness, and we were talking about this before, everybody tells you to forgive your
Mhm.
parents, your pastor, your teachers. Okay,
Yeah.
how? I'll do it if you teach me how. What's the process? Nobody teaches you. And
No.
then on a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable, dumpster fire, horrific, and
Mhm.
one being the easiest person in the world to forgive, every single solitary person watching and listening to this broadcast is thinking of their number 10, which
Yeah.
is fair because this is the group of people or one person or the traumatic event that completely wrecked your life.
Yeah.
I get it. Totally fair. That's why nobody wants to forgive. So my system is different. First of all, you don't have to forgive your unforgivable. Why? Because there's a lot of people, places, and things, and I did say places and things, don't click off, stay with me, that you can forgive before you even get to that person. So my
Mm,
system is we start with the easy ones and you work your way up through to the horrible ones. That's part of the system.
okay. And do you want to dive into that system?
Oh, we can. I do
Yeah.
want to give a little PSA to a couple questions that I know everybody's thinking right off the bat. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you.
Yeah, I think that's a common misconception that if you forgive someone, that you're also all of a sudden condoning their behavior.
There's the second one.
And you're like, it's making how they treated you okay, but
Yeah, no, it's not okay.
no.
And it how they treated you is not okay. And just because I forgive you doesn't mean I'm giving you a pass. It doesn't mean I'm saying, okay, you were right and I was wrong. And it doesn't mean you're weak. And I really think that it stems from our childhood when we're in the playground and some kid punches you in the eye or trips you, and the teacher comes up and says, now, children, you need to forgive each other and go off to play. And you're like, well, why
Mhm.
should I forgive? They're the ones that tripped me or punched me in the eye. I don't want to forgive, but they make you. And then you go off and do whatever you're going to do. I think we all connected some unseen dots that should never have been connected. I really do, because that's what trips everybody up. If I forgive this person, I can't hold them accountable anymore because
Mhm.
it means I'm giving in. And this is completely wrong. What forgiveness means to me personally, the formal definition, I want you out of my head.
Mm.
That's it. I want
Yeah.
you out of my head. I don't want to think about you anymore. I'm not going to have to reach out to anybody. I do it in the privacy of my own home. You don't have to tell anybody you've forgiven these people. These people still have to make amends and they still have to do what they're supposed to do. And I still have my boundaries in place because I forgive you doesn't mean I'm all of a sudden going to start talking to you. Probably
Yeah.
won't, depending
Yeah.
upon, who you are.
And depending
But
on
it means,
the level of
yeah, I want
what
to be
level
free.
that thing was that they did.
But you also, since you don't have to reach out and talk to people, you can forgive dead people too, because where they are or are not doesn't matter a lick, does it? If they're alive and well in your head, you could forgive them.
Ooh, that's got to be a tough one for sure.
Was with my father. He's been dead a very long time, and so is my mother. They've been dead since oh man, the 1990s. So
Mm.
it was because there's nothing, there's really no, you can't talk to them in the flesh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I had a client recently who her husband had reconnected with his biological father, and then he ended up getting sick and passing away. And he got like a tiny, he was ill. So he got this tiny little glimpse of, because the father knew that he was going to die from this illness. And so he all of a sudden starts turning over this new leaf of, I want to be a part of your life. I want to whatever. And yet I think that had that not been a factor, I don't think his behavior would have changed. And so all of a sudden, my client's husband was like, oh, I got a glimpse of what,
Could have been.
and all of a sudden forgot all of the things that had been done before, and is now trying to work through all those emotions of forgiving that and also seeing what he's never going to have in the future too.
Yeah, I got his back on that one. The
Yeah.
the forgiveness system I've come up with will help them a lot.
All
But
right.
that's the thing. I had that with my mother. She had 3 really good sober years with her, but a lifetime of alcoholism. And I was lucky because we got to talk to each other and she got to say she was sorry and I got to say I was sorry and that kind of thing. But it's very hard if they've already passed because you want closure, you want answers.
Yeah.
It's very hard. But the thing about anger, Buddha has this wonderful quote, and he said that being angry and holding on to this stuff is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Mm.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? We're making ourselves sick. And there's another thing. Don't tell me that stress kills and stress is toxic and anger is toxic without telling me how. I
Mhm.
like the how. I'll admit it, but I still want to know how. Here's the how. It's really interesting. It's the Japanese water study, and you can Google that right online. It was done by a guy named Hasu Mo. I can't remember his name, but if you Google Japanese water study, you'll find it. What, and I'll say in the interest of time, I'll just say it fast. He studied water, 2 containers of water. One container he spoke love to, beautiful words of love. The other container, hate. The most hate-filled sentences he could come up with, he said to that water. He then froze the water and put it under a microscope. The water he spoke love to had these beautiful crystal formations. The water he spoke hate to had the exact opposite, these black and brown malformations and looked really
Wow.
sick. So why am I telling you this? The human body is over 95% water. So when you
Mm.
have negative self-talk, when you are filled with hate and bitterness, what do you think you're doing to the water cells within your body?
Mm. So
That's why it's toxic.
do you find that after people go through your forgiveness process that the anger goes away?
Yes.
Okay.
And here's why. One of the things to forgiveness, and I'm going to go through the method step by step in a minute, but one of the things about forgiveness, I get a lot of people coming up to me and saying, I did do the work. I did forgive them. And now it's back again. I got triggered.
Mhm.
And I went to a family party and I saw them and I just got triggered again because my brain went right back. Or I saw my ex-business partner on Facebook or whatever it was. How do I get them to stay forgiven? A great question.
Yeah, really good
Energy.
question. Mm.
Energy. Einstein clearly proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. So when you get angry, you think, most people don't even think about it, but when you get angry, you think it just leaves your mouth and dissipates into the universe. It does not. The emotion hangs in your energy field until you clear it. Science has also taught us that everything on our planet has an energy field around it, including this little silver microphone, inanimate objects. So when I say anything can be forgiven, I actually mean it. And the reason this person hasn't stayed forgiven is because you didn't forgive the energy around them. The little mantra that I'm going to have you say in the middle of this thing is I completely forgive Martha. I don't have an Aunt Martha or Martha in my life, so it's an easy name to use. I completely forgive Martha. I forgive the energy around Martha. I
Mm.
forgive myself. I forgive the energy around myself. I forgive the energy around the entire situation. And so it is. Amen. Go with God. End it any way you like. That's part of the system. And what that is going to do, it's going to cut that energetic energy cord that's been tying you to your oppressor, which is the last person you want to be tied to.
Yeah.
And it's going to start to let your brain pay attention to other things. It's like this coffee cup. And if you're listening, I'm just holding up a purple coffee cup in front of my face. This cup could be represent anger. When I'm first angry, I can hold it off to the side, can't I? I look at my body language. We can go out to dinner. I can talk. I can do my job. I can manage my anger. This is easy. But the longer I hold on to it, if I don't forgive and I don't let something out of the cup, eventually it's going to get heavy and I'm going to have to take 2 hands to hold up the cup. My life hasn't stopped exactly, but my anger is starting to filter in my conversations,
Mm.
starting to I'm starting to pay attention. And if I continue to hold on to it, now I'm holding the cup in front of my face. My life has stopped. I can't do anything. So by using my system, it's going to allow you to take your anger back off to the side because I'm going to have you start with the easy ones. Now look at my life. I can pay attention again. I see money making opportunities, new ways to lose weight. I could see a new job, a new house, a new relationship because now I can pay attention because I'm not paying attention as much to the anger. And as you work through the system, and I'm going to teach you how to forgive the unforgivable, hello, then you'll be able to now look at my body language. I can pay attention to anything and be my authentic self. Now,
Mm.
humans irritate other humans, don't we?
Yeah.
It's a nasty little habit that we have, and families will screw you up. So there's always something to forgive, and there's always new material to forgive. So we're never really quite done. But that old stuff, those chains you've been carrying, we can get rid of those.
What about, so I have struggled in my past with infertility, and I have a lot of infertility listeners. What about something where, like that, where there's not like a specific person or thing to be angry with? You're just angry at God or the universe, I guess, for that situation. What are your thoughts towards that? Because,
I love you for asking that question. I really do. I've done a lot of podcasts and very few people ask me questions like that. And I love it because I can help. I can help. I'll use breast cancer instead of infertility.
yeah.
So substitute breast cancer. I forgave breast cancer, the actual thing. I actually forgave breast cancer. I completely forgive breast cancer. I forgive the energy around breast cancer. I forgive myself for getting breast cancer, the energy around myself for getting breast cancer. I forgive the energy around the entire horrible thing. And
Mm.
so it is. I picked apart breast cancer. I forgave the chemo
Ooh.
infusion. I forgave the chair that I sat in. I
Ooh.
forgave the building that I had the chemo in. I
Mm.
forgave the town that I had the chemo in. I forgave the nurses, the doctors, the radiation table, the surgeries. I was sick for 4 years. I forgave the actual calendar year. I forgave the dates. I
Ooh.
forgave myself for getting breast cancer.
Wow.
And if you pick apart that piece, you can remove the energy. And I don't make any promises about babies or anything or being
Sure.
cancer free. But what I can promise you is it will remove the emotional charge. So
Mm.
you'll be calmer now and you won't be thinking about it as much. I can look back at those breast cancer years and I'm not quite as tied up about it anymore. I
Mm.
have some peace about it and I have some understanding about it. That's
Yeah.
how you forgive. Let's talk about the system so I can put it really in place. I'm going to have you
Do it.
sit down and I'm going to have you write all the people you want to forgive. The first three people on the list are probably going to be your number 10s, your unforgivable ones. And for anybody listening, I would suggest somewhere on your list, I would put the word infertility. And
Mhm.
if you're cancer, put down the word cancer.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to, I know it's old school, but I really want you to do it with a pen and paper. I really do. I
I'm
really
very
don't want,
much, I'm a list maker. I write, and
yeah,
I don't do
yeah,
it in my phone. I do it on paper. I'm like
I
very
agree.
much, I'm such a physical, like visual being. I need that. So I totally support that.
But there was a study done in Harvard University years and years ago, and they followed these kids, and they said they took a class, and they said to half of the class, say your goals out loud to the room. So they did. The other half of the class had to write their goals down on a pen and paper. Then they followed the kids through the years. The
Okay.
kids who wrote their goals down on pen and paper were twice as successful as the kids who didn't. So there's
Wow.
some kind of magic, and I don't know why it doesn't translate really to the phone. You could
Mhm.
don't email me. It is what it is. And I haven't really followed up on studies. I'm sure there's some other studies today, but there's magic that happens when it goes from your brain and you just write it down. So I want you to write your list. Don't judge the names. Don't judge the names. Just write it. If you write down the name Billy and you don't remember a Billy, don't judge it.
Mm,
Clearly, that would be a number one because you don't remember it. Just write
mm.
it anyways. Write
Just
without thought,
whatever comes up.
whatever comes up.
Okay.
And then I want you to rate everything you've written from 1 to
Mm,
10. 10 being horrific, 1 being easy. 1 is the person in high school who tripped you in the hall. Come on now. It was
mhm.
years ago. You could forgive them. The person who stole your parking space at the grocery store yesterday. Come on now.
Ooh, those ones make me so mad.
Or the person who cut you off on the I-95 yesterday. Gives a little road rage moment. You can forgive that. Today you're happy. Come on now. You can forgive these people. Easy things to forgive. The person who stole your lunch yesterday at work and you were hungry and you had to go out to get some other food. You can forgive them. They were hungry and they had a pinch, they had a deadline. Come on. These are easy things to forgive. And so I want you to, once you've written your list, and I like you to do this before bed. I want you to look at that first name and I want you to be alone in the room, no little humans, no big humans. They have to be doing something else. Here's a really hard thing for everybody to do. I want your phone to be off. There's a magic off button on that phone, and you can turn it off. And if you're visibly twitching at the thought of turning it off, then just turn the volume off, mute it. Don't vibrate, because if it vibrates, it's going to dance in your desk or your bed. And you're going to want to look at it. So just mute it. Just don't forget to turn it back on later, which is something I do frequently. So I want you to look at that first person, take the easiest person on the list. And now I want you to imagine in your mind's eye that the person is standing in front of you, not the adult that you know today. Let's say it's somebody from grammar school. I want the kid standing in front of you. I don't want the adult. I want you to see the original person when this happened the first time. And then say whatever you want. If it's a level 1 person, you're probably not going to say anything because it'll be so easy. But if it's a level 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 10, you're probably going to want to let them have it. So let them have it. You're alone in the room. You could cry, you can dance, you can do anything you want. Nobody's there. You're alone. Say what you want to say. And when you're done, put your hand in your heart, because the words are just for us stupid humans. It's the energy behind the words that makes the most difference. That's where the magic is. And then say the mantra that I told you. Once you say the mantra, and all there's some worksheets and stuff in the book. Once you say the mantra, check in with your body. Is it were you clearing a number 1 person and now they're fine? Cross their name off, go to the next one. Was it a number 3 person? Sorry, I'm losing my voice. One sec.
No worries, you're good.
Talking too much. Was it a number 3 person and now it's a 2? Okay, put the new number next to their name. Was it a number 4 person and now it jumped up to a 9? Oh my God, what happened? It's going the wrong way. Did I do it wrong? No, you didn't do it wrong. The human mind is the most wonderful tool that we have at our disposal, and it protects you like an overprotective best friend. And what you just did is you said the magic key combination to that closet in the back of your mind that's been padlocked for a very long time. And your brain just said, ooh, Catherine just said the magic words. I'm going to flood her brain with all sorts of memories that she forgot.
And we've all been there too, right? Where we're thinking about something like that. And then all of a sudden, something else comes up about that thing or person, and then something else. And then you just get more and more angry. So that would be one of those instances where they jumped from a 3. You're like, oh, I'm not that angry with this person. Oh, actually, I
am, because there was a movie playing in the back of that closet that's been padlocked, and it's been playing forever. If you knew it was there, you would have turned it off decades ago, but you didn't know it was there. So it's been playing all this time and affecting your life and affecting your relationships and affecting your work, because it's just been playing. And what you just did is, forgiveness is like an onion, and you actually remove the first layer of that onion and the closet opened up. So you cross that number 3 off your list, replace it with a 9, wait 24 hours, then do it again.
Okay.
You're not going to get a number 10 high level person down to a 1 overnight. It's going to take a minute. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It took me months, actually maybe even about a year, to forgive my father, who's passed away already. And it took a very long time. And the unforgivable are a bear. I wasn't ready to forgive let's use the bullies in school. I wasn't ready to forgive the bully in school when I first came up with this formula. I couldn't even forgive the energy around her. Didn't want to. I was mad. And yes, I was in my 50s at the time, and we're talking about something that happened in the 1970s. It didn't matter because it was still affecting me, and I was still mad, and I kept getting triggered by things that I saw. So what I did is I picked apart the memory. I forgave my child, the grammar school building. I completely forgive my grammar school. I forgive the energy around my grammar school. I completely forgive the desk that I sat in the 7th grade and the energy around the desk. I forgave the table, the chair, the teacher, the room, the city, the playground, the kids that stood around and didn't help me. I slowly forgave all of them. But check me out. I haven't forgiven the bully yet. I haven't even forgiven the energy around the bully. I'm picking apart the memory.
Okay.
If your number 10 is so dramatic and so horrible, we'll just use rape as an example because it's very extreme. It may not even be appropriate for you to forgive that person.
Yeah.
There are some people, they're very magical. I call them unicorns. They probably could forgive this person, I'm not your girl for that. I'm
Mhm.
from New York. I'm not sure I could, to be honest. But
Mm.
what I can say is I want you to pick apart the memory and forgive everything else. Forgive what you can and keep going. So eventually, once you pick apart the memory, wait a few days, try again. Can you forgive that person? No. Okay. No judgment. How can you forgive the energy around that person and nothing else? Yes? Okay. Then just forgive the energy and forgive yourself and keep going.
Yeah.
If you can't even forgive the person or the energy, okay, let's pick apart another memory again and let's keep going. And if that's all you're ever able to do, that's fine. Forgive what you can and keep going.
Yeah.
You need to get your life back.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of those really big things. That would be really hard. And I think it's interesting that you're talking about picking apart the little bits and pieces because I never thought of that. While you were speaking, I was thinking of I was broken up with in high school by a boy and it absolutely wrecked my heart and soul. He was like
I
my
did
first
too. Yeah.
love.
With you on that one, sister. Same thing. Yep. Broke my
Yeah,
heart.
and it was devastating. And so that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about all of that. And it's interesting to break it down to the energy of the person because I just think that can give you so much freedom in itself for sure without having to forgive that one person.
Person. And you
Yeah.
may not be able to forgive that kid. You may not. And it's
Yeah.
fine. You forgive the energy around the person. You forgive yourself. And this is the first book of three. The second book, I actually just finished the first draft. So hopefully it'll be out later this summer. But second book is about how to forgive yourself. Hello. And how to forgive the unforgivable. I'm taking a real deep dive into it. And I'm even going to have a chapter in there on how to forgive money. Hello. Money is just energy, people. That's all it is. It's
Ooh, those are
energy.
so good.
Yeah. But for this session, for the quote beginners, are just learning the system, just forgiving the ones, twos, threes, and fours is going to open up your life. And I really want you to do this before bed. Why? Because your body heals itself when it's sleeping. This is a case of do as I say, not as I did. True story. I do my own exercises. I'm my own guinea pig. So I did this exercise couple times. And the first time I did it, I've written a bunch of books. So shocker, I'm a little bit of an overachiever. I know that shocks people. So I wrote my list. I must have had 50 people on the list,
Oh,
something like
wow.
that. And I thought this is going to be great. I'm going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to be a brand new person and all that shit's going to be gone. Yeah, it didn't end up the way I thought it would, sadly. I did forgive many people on the list, 100%. And I spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu. And the reason, remember
Wow.
those water cells, people. Remember the water
Mhm.
cells. Your body can mitigate all that toxic sludge that you have been carrying for all this time when you're sleeping. If you limit it between 3 and 10 people, or
Mm.
between 1 and 10 people. And if you're doing a number 10 person, just do one of those a night. But if you do more than that, you get what a Native American Indian taught me is called energy sickness. And it means your body, you've just given out too much energy and your body just can't catch up. You know what I'm saying? It's part of energy sickness. So when people do this work, 9 out of 10 people felt really tired, which is why I want you to
Mhm.
do it before sleep, or you're going to have to take a nap because you're going to be really exhausted. Other people feel their shoulders get lighter. They actually feel energy leave their body. My older son does. I do too. That's when they know they've really forgiven because they can feel the relief virtually immediately. And then there's those of us who might be, I don't know how to politely say this, in the bathroom for a little bit. And it doesn't mean you've eaten a bad fish. It means that your body is just trying to clean out the toxins. It's like a cleanse. It's the ultimate cleanse, to be honest.
I have a really hard time. Like, I'm always reading a fiction book and a self-help book. And I have a really hard time reading a self-help book before bed because my brain will not shut down after that.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
as you're talking about, maybe do 110 a night or something like that.
Just 110 a night so your body can relieve. But I don't want you to start with the tens. See,
Yeah.
when you're creating this list, you could have 20 number sevens. I really don't care. You could skip a number on your list. I also don't care. Do it any way you like. I just want you to start with the easy ones and work your way up to those number tens. That's what I care about. That's the piece I care about. So if you're one of those people who, if you think you're going to be, if the movies are not going to stop
Mm-hmm.
after you forgive, then try do it during the day. Do it earlier in the evening. If you eat dinner around 6 o'clock, do it right after dinner, and then you'll have a few hours to process, and then you can go to bed.
Okay.
I just don't want you to do it in the morning and you've got a critical deadline for something for work and you have to, I don't know, go out to the world and see people. You might be exhausted. You're probably going to need coffee, that kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
why I want you to do it at night. And
Yeah.
if one of those people, when you really forgive and you're in the bathroom, probably be better if you were home.
I wonder too, though, if you have that forgiveness and then you actually do forgive and you've released that energy, that could also be the best night's sleep you ever had.
It could. It could. 100%. But
So,
how do you know you've actually forgiven somebody?
good
There's a
question. Yeah.
question I usually get. You've forgiven somebody when you can see their name online in social media, Facebook or Instagram, and or you meet them at a party and it doesn't trigger you.
Mm.
I there's another saying. There's a bunch of sayings that bother me, but one of the other sayings that bothers me is forgive and forget.
Ooh.
Okay, I am originally from New York City. We will never forget. We're known for it, and it's in our DNA. It's
Mm.
a thing with us. We don't forget. I'm not the only one. So, what I can promise you is I actually really did pick apart my childhood. I did pick apart all the people. I actually forgave 1974 because that's the year I tried to commit suicide. I actually forgave the calendar year. I've completely forgive 1974 and the energy around it. And what it's done for me is I used to be able to immediately tell you my story, and I'm a survivor of suicide and alcoholism, and I was proud of it, and I wore it like a superwoman with a badge of honor until I realized it was all tripping me up. And now I can look back into my past and I see the love that was there. I see the adults that were trying to help that kid. I see the friends that I actually had around me. And that's what I remember now. So if I've forgotten, no, it's still in a closet somewhere in the back. I've just padlocked it. And now I have a different perspective of my childhood. So I can look at somebody, and it happened to me a couple years back. I was on Facebook and I saw the name of one of my ex-business partners. And usually when I saw her name, I've had a bunch of business partners over the years because I'm in my 60s now, but there's been a bunch of them. And I saw one of them, and usually that would just send me tearing out, and you'd have to peel me off the ceiling because it was bad. And I looked at her name, nothing. No emotional charge, no trigger. And I caught myself and I sat here. I was actually right at this desk and I thought, wait a minute, I'm not angry. I even wished her a happy birthday. And I thought, what's
Oh.
wrong with me? I'm not angry. It was liberating. It was freeing. I
Mm.
didn't care about her good. I didn't care about her bad. I just didn't care.
Mm.
That's freedom. And if
Yeah.
you're trying to forgive cancer or infertility, right now you're very emotional. You're in your head about it. It's all you can think about. You're thinking of the dark side. You're going to forums, and anybody who posts in a forum is usually having a problem with it. I learned that with cancer. So if you go to a breast cancer forum, you get great information. You do, but you also hear about the people who are having horrible infections and stuff like that. And so it gets into your head. Tell people don't go to Dr. Google. They'll have you dead by Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
what this is going to do, it's going to remove the emotional charge and it's going to give you peace. Because
Mm.
more than likely, you're like me and you will need to forgive yourself. I had to forgive myself for getting cancer, for losing the income that was providing my family. We were down to a one income family, and it was really hard. And it was my fault. One of my sons almost flunked out of college because I got cancer and I could have died. He pulled
Mhm.
himself out. You know, he's a federal law enforcement officer and everything came. But I almost was the cause of him flunking out. And that was in my head. So we all have stuff that we have to forgive ourselves for, whether it's infertility or whether it's cancer or I dropped the ball or I didn't get that job or I said something I should have. And once you say it, you can't take it back. We all have stuff like that. And we can forgive ourselves for it as well to bring us peace,
Mm.
to get these things out of our head so we can enjoy the other parts of life.
Oh, that's really deep. Forgiving yourself is so hard, and it's so much easier, I think, to blame yourself for a lot of those situations too, especially those 10 situations. Like,
The blame game, that's fun.
yeah. No, it's not. But it's easy to do. I think we all are guilty of it. To
We
look
all
back
play it.
on those situations to blame ourselves, whether it was not eating the right food, or maybe I
That's
should have
right.
done this, maybe I should have done that. It's not even like real complicated things, but it's so much easier. I think for myself specifically, it's easier to blame myself than anyone else because I do have control over myself. And I feel like I don't want to blame my husband for eating whatever that maybe caused his sperm count to go down, or I don't know, not
Yeah,
that even
no,
really
yeah,
happened, but like it's easier for me to not be mad at him for that. It's
right.
easier to be mad at myself, but it's so hard to forgive yourself.
And my answer to that, because I just finished the first draft of the book, is how I picked apart my unforgivable. I want you to pick apart yourself. Meaning, instead of writing a list of the top 10, now I still want you to write that list. That's phase one is
Yeah.
let's get the original list out and let's kick that out.
Yeah.
Write down a list of all the people that you think you need to forgive, rate them from 1 to 10, and then work on the list. Once you've gone made a few passes at that list, you could conceivably write a second list. And the
Mhm.
second list is about things you need to forgive yourself for. So we'll use my father as an example. This is how I figured it out. I forgave my dad, and he's passed away. So no closure here. He's gone. And somebody asked me, a podcaster asked me, they said, because they wanted to know if I really practice what I preach. And he looked at me and he said, so your father's passed. Do you have pictures of your parents displayed around your house? I have a picture of my mom. My father's in a cabinet because just because I forgave him doesn't mean I want a relationship with him, alive or dead. So his
Ah.
picture, I have it, but it's in a cabinet, so I don't have to see it every day. So I got dad, no disrespect, dad, got my father down from a 10 to a 1. And then I sat here and then I realized in a flash that I had done things to him and said things to him that I couldn't take back. So I had to go reverse it and go back the other way.
Ooh.
So I wrote a list of things I needed him to forgive me for.
Oh.
Hello. And then I did that for a little bit. And then I made a list of the situations that I needed people to forgive me for. And I rated them from 1 to 10. We all have that one thing that we're kicking ourselves for. We know we shouldn't have done it. We shouldn't have said it. Something. It's that number one thing that we will kick ourselves for the rest of our lives. The number one thing. I had one too. And I made a list of all the things I thought I needed to forgive myself for. And then I slowly went up the list. And I picked apart the memory for each one. If it wasn't a person and it was an actual memory of I shouldn't have gone to that concert or something like that, then I picked apart the memory.
Okay.
And by the time you get to your number 5, number 6 memory, you're going to start to feel better
Mm.
because you're not carrying all that weight, that emotional weight with you.
When you really start boiling it down to all of those details and you think about how all of that is weighing down on you, it's not
Sure.
just your dad. It's not just
No.
the cancer. It's not just like it is. I was getting chills when you were talking about forgiving all the cancer stuff because I'm thinking about me going to the fertility clinic and the nurses and the
Forgive the clinic,
doctors
forgive the nurses,
and
forgive the
the
chair you sat in.
yes,
Yep.
all of that stuff. Yeah,
It's
I
weighing down
mean,
on you. And it's weighing down on you. I used to go to weddings and sometimes they trigger me. And then
mm,
I realized it's because I didn't let my father walk me down the aisle because I was mad at him. That was my pretty much one of my high numbers. I think it wasn't quite a 10, but it might have been a 9. I've been kicking myself for that for years and joking, saying first thing I'm going to do is say I'm sorry to him when I get over there because it was awful. I was angry. And he really was a horrible person, but it's still two wrongs don't make a right.
uh, yeah.
Although one of my sons has a good, really good sense of humor. I said that to him once, and he said, "Yeah, but 3 lefts make a right, Mom." Okay, funny kid, right?
Oh.
But or 3 rights make a left, or whatever he said. But picking apart that memory and finally forgiving myself for not letting him walk me down the aisle was absolutely liberating. I felt freed. I felt freed from under his thumb. It was just gone. The whole relationship healed in an instant. And it was pretty much healed by the time I got him down to a 1. But once I started to forgive myself for stuff that I had done, next level stuff. Next
Wow.
level stuff. But when you're dealing with infertility, there's a lot of stuff that could go in your list.
A
You could forgive
lot.
yourself. You could forgive eggs. You
Well,
could forgive sperm. You could forgive your body. You could forgive the clinic. You could forgive the email that came that told you stuff. You could forgive your cell phone. You could forgive the date on the calendar. You could forgive. I could think of a lot of things you could put on that list.
yeah. And definitely depending on, like, I went through it for almost a decade, depending on how long your journey was too. And I am one of the few that didn't even have success. So that's a whole other level too of, I have a lot of people that reach out to me all the time on social media and they're like, how do you get through that? How do you get through? Because a lot of people end up even if they go through infertility and they go through the treatments, they eventually have success. There is a smaller group of people that do not and have to
Right.
either walk away from it or continue to traumatize themselves over and over and over. So it's a tough thing for sure.
I'm not sure you realize your value, and I'm going to say it publicly because you're a lighthouse. That's what you're here to be. You're a lighthouse. And you're here to show people the way and show people how they can do this with love and how show people how they can get through this. And you're a lighthouse that's guiding dark ships into the harbor. That's what you're here to do. So instead of having a biological kid, you have thousands.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, Catherine.
I make
I've
people cry
never
all the
thought of
time.
it
I'm
that
sorry.
way. I've
You're a
never thought of
lighthouse.
it that way.
You're a flashlight. And I'm a flashlight too. And I love being a flashlight and I love being a lighthouse. But think about when you turn a flashlight on, we go into dark places. So it's dark for us, but it's great for the people around us. And that's what you are. You're a lighthouse. You're a flashlight. That's what you're here to do. You're here to spread the truth. You're here to spread the love. You're here to help people through this heartbreaking thing.
This is so interesting. I'm not trying to make this podcast about me, but like I have had so many people that have said to me, "Oh, there's many different ways to be a mom." And I'm like, "Okay, let's think about this." I
Probably not very helpful.
It's not. No,
No, it's not.
there's people say things all the time that aren't helpful in a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
it's like
different
the woman who
situations.
came
But
up. It was like the woman who came up to me, and I thought I looked pretty good that day. I was bald as a cue ball, and my family was calling me Mama Schmiegel. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, there's the
big
goblin in
I
there.
just watched Lord of the Rings last night.
Remember Schmiegel? They were calling me Mama Schmiegel because they said I
Oh.
looked like Schmiegel because I didn't have any hair. It was just so not. I have a very dark sense of humor. So does my family. And I had this woman come up to me. She put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Oh dear, I'm so sorry. How much time do you have left?"
Oh my
I
God.
am a concierge and customer service trainer by trade. I pride myself on putting my concierge hat on virtually immediately and masking my emotions, but I couldn't that day. Came out of my mouth, couldn't stop it. And I just looked at her and said, "I could drop dead right now, lady. You might want to take a step back." I shouldn't have said it,
Sometimes you get
but I did.
with those comments, you sometimes get pushed far enough that stuff just comes out the way.
Just came out. The New Yorker in me just came right out of my mouth.
Oh my gosh, it's
But
wild
saying
to
to you
me.
there's other ways to have a child is probably the worst thing somebody could
Well,
say.
specifically, there are other ways to be a mom. So I had a friend who is a stepmom, and she was like, "I never thought I'd be a stepmom." I'm like, "Cool. I adore my husband. He wasn't married before and doesn't have kids from a previous marriage. I don't intend on getting divorced in the near future.
Yep,
So don't
there
think
you go.
that's in the cards." And then I thought about all the conventional ways you can go down the rabbit hole of adoption, of donors, all that stuff. But I have a really hard time thinking of the unconventional ways like you just spoke to me about. So I just need to tell you how grateful I am to you for pointing that out to me today because I have never thought about this podcast being that. So thank you very
You're
much.
helping so many people navigate dark water. And it's almost like you're in a boat in front of them, flashing a floodlight at them and saying, "Come this way." You are a gift.
Thank you so much for that. You are a gift too, teaching people about I really think that forgiveness is probably one of the hardest things that we have ever
It
had to
is.
do as humans is forgiveness. It's so much easier to be angry. It's so much
And
easier.
nobody teaches you how to forgive. At the end of the day, I would have loved when I was in my 20s and I was going through AA and all this stuff. They said you need to make amends. Okay, how? Give me a step by step formula that will take me from point one to point two. Show me how to do it. Nobody did. They give you parables, they give you quotes, they say you got to do it. They tell you it's a mindset. I don't want a mindset. I want to be angry. So that's not helpful.
Mm.
So this is a system that is easily implementable. That's not a word. You can implement it easily. There we go. That's a step-by-step system that will get you from point A to point B. Now, if you can never forgive your unforgivable, you can never forgive yourself for being infertile, that's okay. Forgive other pieces on that list. Forgive other parts of it. It's like going up to a wall. A lot of speakers, I'm not trying to bash speakers because I used to talk about the wall all the time myself. And a lot of speakers will say, here's a jackhammer. We're going to get you through that wall. Let's power through the wall. It's very 1970s thinking because I'm going to have you take out a few pieces of the wall, forgive a few parts of that, walk around the damn thing, keep going. Circle back if you can. Forgive what you can and keep going. And if you never circle back, that's perfectly okay because there's so many other things in our world that you can forgive. Anything on CNN, you can forgive. You can forgive politicians, dare I say, not go in there. You could forgive the war in the Middle East. What's it going to do for the war in the Middle East? Absolutely nothing, but it's going to do wonders for you. Did your football team lose in the Super Bowl? Okay, I think enough of time has gone by. You can forgive the team. I had a gentleman come up to me once. And I love it when people do this to me because it's a purposely trying to trip me up. And I love being challenged. And he looked at me and he said, I've made a lot of money. Remember, I'm a concierge by training, so I'm good at masking this. Then in my head, I'm going, so? Okay, good for
Yeah.
you. And I have a lot of houses. Okay. And he said, I have a lot of success. I'm thinking, okay, where's this going? Okay, good for you. Very happy for you, sir. And he looked at me and he said, and I built it on my bed of pain. I built it on
Ooh.
the story. I built it on the tragedy that helped me. And I slowly crawled my way out and I built myself into the person I am today. Okay, I'll play. Let's talk
Okay.
about that.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
play.
talk about that, please, because that is a question I ask a lot of my guests on this podcast too. Most people would not, the answer usually is most people would not change their past. Obviously,
Mhm.
you'd change aspects of it. You want a loved
Right.
one that passed away to not have passed away, blah, 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 whatever. But most people are like, I wouldn't change it because it made me who I am today. So
Sure.
please
Yeah,
go
let's
there.
play. Sure. You have a choice of two trains. You can get on the express or you could take the local. And
Okay.
the local stops at every single solitary stop, and it's painful. It's like going into a hotel. You're going up to the 72nd floor, and some punk kid has pressed, and we've all had this. Punk kid has pressed every button between 2 and 72. You have to stop at every single floor, and you're good for the first 10, but it just keeps going, and you're stopping. And by the time you get up to the 72nd floor, you're crawling out on hands and knees, but you got there. The
Mhm.
local is the same way. It stops at every single stop. So you can get there on the local. I've been on that train. It was painful. You'll get bloodied. You're going to have problems. Life is going to pull the rug out from under you, but you can get there. Wouldn't you rather hop off that local and hop on the express? I submit to you that you can get twice as far, twice as fast using love and forgiveness than you can using that awful local train. You can
Mhm.
get to the same destination. Sure, you can, but you're going to get farther if you hop on the express.
Mhm.
You take everything you've learned by taking that local train and using my forgiveness system, and that'll put you on the express. Now, watch your life take off. Why? Because all of that junk, put it this way, when you travel, you have a huge suitcase, right? And you have to lug it into your car trunk. Then you lug that suitcase and you put it into the overhead, and you worry, and when you're out there, that you won't be able to get your suitcase in the overhead. And it's so heavy, maybe you can't even, you have to rely on somebody, some nice gentleman to help you put the suitcase in the overhead. And then you have to lug it to a hotel and an Airbnb, and you have to lug it all around. Then you have to do the same thing when you come home. And when you come home, you unpack it and you put it in the closet. It's still in your closet, but you're not lugging it around anymore.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
still there. You can
Mhm.
still learn what you need to learn, but it's in your closet. You can go look at it occasionally if you want to, but you don't have to lug it around anymore.
Which is huge. Huge. I love this.
Yeah.
This is so great. I've learned so many things. Yeah, I keep thinking about the bits and pieces of all the little things because even it's the one big thing that's weighing down on us, right? It's the
Oh,
one big
yeah.
thing. But if you pull a little piece here
Part.
and you pull a little piece here, it's going to
Pull out the
slowly
threads.
get lighter. And even if you don't forgive the last little piece,
That's fine.
you've come so far just by doing
You're
the
gonna
little bits and
and
pieces.
you're gonna feel so much better. At the end of the day, if you can't forgive that one little piece, and that one little piece is you, or whatever that one little thread is, that's
Mhm,
fine. Because think
mhm,
of all the threads you have forgiven.
mhm,
And think how your life is going to change. It's going to probably take on a completely new trajectory. You're going to
mhm,
see new things, new places, new ways. The
mhm,
person you came down to be, your authentic self, which a lot of people talk about, you're finally going to be able to be. You're
mhm.
going to be able to hear that little bird in your shoulder. It's another book I wrote, because of course I did. It's about because it had to tap into your intuition, because anger acts like a shield. It's like walking around with a big lead shield around your body. You're trying to tap into your gut feelings. You're trying to tap into your intuition. You're trying to stop dating the same kind of men. Why are you still doing
Mhm.
it? Why are you stuck in that loop? Because your anger is blocking it. It's acting like a shield. So you remove that shield, you remove that anger, your world's going to open up, because now your head's on a swivel, and look at me. I can see all sorts of things now. I see opportunities, I see destinations, I see people.
Mhm. What do you say to people who try to justify their anger towards these people? Because I think some people feel like they need to defend why they haven't forgiven this person or things. If they still feel like, no, I have every right to be mad and angry at this
And
person.
they do have every right to be angry. I agree with them. They do. What happened to them was horrific. They have every right to be angry. And I've had a lot of stuff happen. I was raped in college. I tell you, I'm like God's guinea pig. I've had all these crazy things happen to me. And you have every right to be angry. For the next 5 nights, 3 times before you go to bed, I want you to say, I completely forgive myself for not being able to forgive, and the energy around this thought.
Okay.
Say that 3 times a night, every night before you go to bed. And does it have to be for 5 nights? Probably not. At some point, that closet in the back of your mind is going to open up, and you're going to start to remember things. You're going to start to hear things. And then now you could write a little list. You might only be writing things that you saw on CNN last night. That's fine. It's a story. You might be the little things. So just start forgiving the little things. And if you never ever forgive that big thing that you have every right to be angry about, that's
Mhm.
fine. Just pick apart the memory. You're not forgiving that person. You have every right to be angry. Okay, so forgive your anger. I completely forgive the fact that I am angry and the energy around this thought. Forgive the anger itself as if it was a thing. Write down the word anger. Telling
Ooh.
you anything is forgivable, and you can get that anger down from a 10 maybe down to a 5, and you'll start to feel better. Now,
Mm.
as you forgive, some things, I have to play devil's advocate a little bit, because some things are going to happen. Like energy attracts like energy, so you're going to attract new people into your life. Brilliant. Love that. People that think like me, positive, forward, positive people. Great. Okay, but there's another side to that coin. You're going to have jackrabbits. These are the
Mm.
people that are close to you currently, and the minute you start to change, they're gone. Had a
Mm.
bunch of them in my life. The ghost
Mhm.
you, I think, is the term today. And then you have the saboteurs, usually people you live with. More often than not, they're family, because I'm telling you, family really messes you up. And they don't want you to change. They like the broken you. They like the you that you are right now. They don't want you to change. Sometimes they don't even want you to be happy. So Jim Rohn, who's a very famous motivational speaker, said you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
I've heard that.
Who are you spending your time with?
Ooh.
You get to choose. As you change, you can take people with you. As you grow, choose who you want to take with you. My family's mostly passed away, so it's pretty easy for me. But I had to choose who I wanted to bring with me and who I wanted to put boundaries out for.
I think that's a really interesting tidbit too, because I've heard that a lot too. And I've found even in my own healing journey that as things have changed, my relationships have changed too.
Yeah.
A lot. And I think that's really interesting that when you start working on yourself and healing yourself and becoming a better version of yourself, the people who are not doing the work is what I find are the ones that get angry and resentful towards you and then
That's right.
either ghost you or treat you poorly or whatever. I just think that's so interesting. Like, just an interesting little tidbit that they don't, it's like, come on along, jump on the train, come with me and let's do it together. But
They don't want to. And that irritates me, I have to say, because I kept thinking, this is called shadow work because you're working in the shadows. And it's like a constant stream of dark nights of the soul, and you're crying, and this stuff is not easy. And I go through all this and I go try and change and I get rid of all this anger. And I think, does everybody go through this? Why are they having such a hippy dippy, beautiful life? And they're not going through what I'm going, and I'm sitting there crying. You wonder, but everybody's journey is unique. Oh, I don't judge anybody, and they're here on the planet for a reason, and it's not for me to judge.
Yeah. And I
Even though I'm
believe
secretly wanting them to eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream with me, but okay.
I very much believe everybody has something or had
Oh, they all
something,
do.
or even if they're putting on a happy front, they've either worked through it or they have shut it in the box in the back and are not dealing with it. Yep.
Yep,
So,
movie's playing. They're just ignoring it.
I'm currently
They're just
reading.
ignoring it.
I'm currently reading the Let Them Theory with Mel Robbins. Is that what it is? Have you read that one yet?
Not yet, but I love Mel Robbins.
Yeah. So she taught the chapter I'm reading now is that adults only change when they want to. So
That's it.
So it's been such an eye-opening chapter because I'm like, I so feel this because you start to go through your healing journey and you see all these things that are helping you and making such an impact in your own life, and you want to share it with these other people, and you know it's going to make them feel better and live a better life and be a better person, but they have to want it and they have to do it in their own way. Yeah.
Stay away. I don't want it.
Yeah, she actually
it's
talks
very
about how if you try to change someone, their automatic response is to push back. The best way to do it in this chapter now is to just lead by example, basically. And eventually they'll hopefully be like, hey, what are you doing? Or they'll start working on themselves if they want to. But they have to
I
want.
had a client whose mother was very angry, and she'd forgiven her, and she'd read my book, and she had the book. And she said, I want my mother to read your book. Okay. She said, I'm going to leave it on her coffee table. And so we followed up a couple weeks later, and I said, so did your mother read the book? And she said, no, it's still on the coffee table. She refuses to read it. But I'm going to keep it there because every time I go over to her house, I see the book and it reminds me to be forgiving when my mother is doing what she's doing. So it was
So
a good
funny.
it was a good coaster for her, and that's fine. She said it serves as a reminder for her. Her mother's never going to read it. So you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. It's like an alcoholic. I can tell somebody to go to rehab, and I can list the reasons why they should stop drinking, but they're not, unless they want it, it's not going to work. We can even put them in a rehab. They're going to bounce out of it in 30 days and start drinking a month later. Sometimes it works, but most of the time they have to want it.
Yeah.
They have
For
to want it
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I have learned so much about forgiveness, Catherine, and you have enlightened me so much. And I love this conversation. I'm so grateful for this conversation. So I will link all the ways to get a hold of you in the show notes. It looks like you have a website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, if anybody wants to get a hold of you. Do you work one-on-one with people then, or do you just write
all the time?
Okay.
All the time. Yeah,
Okay.
all the time. There's private session links on my website. And there's an
Awesome.
audio book for two of my books. My younger son produced both of them, and we're still talking to each other. So I have so great respect for anybody who does voiceover. It is not, you look at these animated movies and you think, oh, it must have been so easy. They go, they talk into a microphone, boom, they're done. No,
Mm,
it is not easy. I have mad respect for people.
awesome.
Mad respect.
All right. And all right. Do you have any parting words for my listeners?
I think I just want to tell everybody that you are worthy to live a life of joy and love and happiness. It's your birthright. You
Mhm.
are worthy enough to lose the hate. You are worthy enough to have a great relationship and lead a life that you love. It's your birthright.
Amen. Yes. Thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you so much for everything you've shared, for putting your books in the world, and also sharing a lot of your personal journey because you've had some crazy stuff going on too. So,
No
um,
idea.
yeah.
I have looked up at my ceiling occasionally saying, I don't mind being a guinea pig, but could you dial it back a little bit? I think I have enough material to work with now. I think we're good.
Yeah. I am sorry for all of the hard things you've had to go
Oh,
through,
it's
but
all been forgiven,
um,
but so it's all grist for the mill, as Marianne Williamson says.
yes, I love that. Thank you so much for coming on here and taking your time today. I really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.